Namaskar. Morning, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, students and scholars, teachers, trainers, professors, professionals, officers, officials, listeners, learners. I welcome all respected doctors and directors. I welcome all honorable ministers and managers. I welcome adorable administrators, advisors, advocates. I welcome the most honorable President Modi ji. Dr. Rakesh from USA, heartily cordially welcome. It's really nice time, nice place, nice section that we are explaining, defining, expressing what is happening around the world in the form of unity and diversity. सरकार ने पीडीएस के तहत कैरोसिन वितरण के घरेलू ऊर्जा जरूरतों को पूरा करने के लिए सरकार ने लिया फैसला। 184 पुलिस अधिकारियों का हुआ तबादला पश्चिमी बंगाल। 83 वीडियो और एक एआरओ के तबादले। पीएम मोदी आज करेंगे मेरा बूथ सबसे मजबूत संवाद। असम और पुडुचेरी के बीजेपी कार्यकर्ताओं को करेंगे संबोधित। नमो ऐप के जरिए जुड़ेंगे बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ता। खेलो इंडिया ट्राइबल गेम्स में कर्नाटक का दबदबा। छत्तीसगढ़ 15 स्वर्ण के साथ पहले स्थान पर कर्नाटक। ओडिशा दूसरे जबकि तीसरे पायदान पर अरुणाचल प्रदेश काबिज। पश्चिमी एशिया संघर्ष, तेल की कीमतों में बढ़ोतरी। पश्चिमी एशिया संकट के बीच यमन की एंट्री से और गहराया संकट। हूती विद्रोहियों के इजराइल पर हमले के बीच बढ़ी तेल की कीमतें। नक्सलवाद की सफाई पर संसद में आज बड़ी चर्चा। देश में रेड कॉरिडोर खत्म करने की कोशिशों के बारे में जानकारी। केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह दे सकते हैं जानकारी। सरकार ने पीडीएस के तहत कैरोसिन वितरण को दी मंजूरी। घरेलू ऊर्जा जरूरतों को पूरा करने के लिए सरकार ने लिया फैसला। क्या है खोज और मंगल ग्रह पर कैसे मिले पानी के सबूत। 183 पुलिस अधिकारियों का हुआ तबादला पश्चिम बंगाल। 83 वीडियो और एक एआरओ के तबादले पश्चिम बंगाल। पीएम मोदी आज करेंगे मेरा बूथ सबसे मजबूत संवाद के तहत संबोधित। असम और पुडुचेरी के बीजेपी कार्यकर्ताओं को करेंगे संबोधित। नमो ऐप के जरिए जुड़ेंगे बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ता। खेलो इंडिया ट्राइबल गेम्स में कर्नाटक का दबदबा। छत्तीसगढ़ 15 स्वर्ण के साथ पहले स्थान पर कर्नाटक। नवनिर्माण के 9 वर्ष इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड कनेक्टिविटी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन transforming Uttar Pradesh from limited resources to a $1 trillion economy. Over the past 9 years, Uttar Pradesh has undergone a this robust infrastructure foundation is positioning Uttar Pradesh as a key driver of India's economic growth and its journey towards a 1 trillion economy. Expressways, airports, waterways, industrial corridors. From just two expressways in 2017 to 22 today, along with airports, waterways, and industrial corridor, Uttar Pradesh has emerged as the nation's logistics and industrial hub, paving the way to $1 trillion economy. Expressway network backbone of high-speed growth from just two expressways in 2017 to 22 today Industrial and logistics ecosystem, from connectivity to industrial powerhouse. Creation of large industrial land banks and integrated manufacturing clusters is accelerating investment and job creation across the state. Road and rural connectivity, last mile connectivity driving inclusive growth. Aviation expansion and dual MRO hub connecting Uttar Pradesh to the world. Passenger traffic has surged from 59.97 lakhs to 1,423 lakhs, reflecting exponential growth in air connectivity. Jawan Airport strategic aviation hub, rising exports, stronger global competitiveness, lower cost, higher competitiveness, multi-modal connectivity, seamless connectivity across land, air, and water, policy and future vision, building the foundation for a 1 trillion economy. Petrol, diesel excise duty cut, prices wouldn't change. The government says the excise cut will ease under recoveries for public sector oil companies. At the same time, export duties on diesel and ATFs rise, expecting to partly offset the fiscal compact. Commercial LPG allocation raised by another 20% from New Delhi. Trump passes strikes on Iran till April 6. Modi calls for a team India effort to tackle supply crunch from New Delhi. Seven killed as avalanche strikes Jazira Pass from Srinagar. Foreign Minister of Bangladesh likely to visit India. From New Delhi, Bangladesh Foreign Minister Khalil Rahman is expected to visit India in the first week of April. Diplomatic sources have confirmed this will be the country's first high-level outreach after the BNP won the national poll. SIT flooded with plans against Nashik government. Supreme Court says exposing the identity of survivor is breach of law. Constitutional Court of India has warned of a general indifference among trial courts and the police towards what is statutorily a criminal offence. The public disclosure of the identity of survivors of sexual assault. Noise pollution plants by Mumbai rent silence. India's first musical road after dark from Mumbai. देश में रेड कॉरिडोर खत्म करने की कोशिशों के बारे में केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह दे सकते हैं जानकारी। सरकार ने पीडीएस के तहत केरोसिन वेतन को दी मंजूरी। खेलो इंडिया ट्राइबल गेम्स। घरेलू ऊर्जा जरूरतों को पूरा करने के लिए सरकार ने लिया फैसला। पश्चिम बंगाल 184 पुलिस अधिकारियों का हुआ तबादला। हूती विद्रोहियों के इजराइल पर हमले के बीच बढ़ी तेल की कीमतें। नक्सलवाद के सफाई पर संसद में आज बड़ी चर्चा। विजय सेतुपति's dead man lives, dead man lives many lives. Gosling and Alien charming bromance. Cillian Murphy bids farewell to Tommy. Allahabad High Court orders that DNA test to determine minor girls' paternity from Prayagraj. Allahabad High Court has directed NDA test to ascertain the biological parentage of a minor girl, setting aside a family court order that had granted her maintenance. Justice Madan Lal Singh passed the order on March 15 while allowing a criminal revision petition filed by Jahavir Lal Jaiswal against a March 2025 judgment of the family court in Snowbhadra. The High Court observed that in cases involving peculiar facts and circumstances, both the father and the daughter have a right to know the biological truth. It noted that uncertainty regarding paternity could adversely affect their lives. The petitioner claimed that his wife left him in 2000 and subsequently lived with another man. He contended that the child born in 2010 was not his, as there was no physical relationship between them after 2000. Delhi police signed MOU with Seed Door to enhance polishing from New Delhi. CA announces stronger construction dust mitigation norms to curb pollution in NCR from New Delhi. High Court dismisses Amrit Pal's plea to attend budget session from Chandigarh. Locals block traffic in protest against cooking gas crisis in Punjab from Fagwara. Gas cylinders produced in Bengal should not be sent outside Muntasis from Kolkata. Cut in excise duty on fossil fuels, the relief says Fadnavis from Mumbai. PM satire video MP High Court staged suspension of teacher from Bhopal. The court said that the DEO acted under the dictates of the MLA, whereas he is required to consider the matter by applying his mind to the facts and circumstances of the case. Apex Court flags breaches of law exposing identity of sexual assault survivor. Supreme Court forced to intervene twice this week to remind law enforcement authorities and judiciary that case records, affidavits, orders, and judgments must not mention the personal details of survivors. From New Delhi, the Supreme Court of India has warned of a general indifference amongst trial courts and the police towards what is statutorily a criminal offense. The public disclosure of the identity of survivors of sexual assault. The court was compelled to intervene twice this week to remind law enforcement authorities and the judiciary that case records, affidavits, orders, and judgments must not mention the personal details of survival. On Wednesday, a three-judge bench headed by Chief Justice of India Suryakant directed the Supreme Court registry to erase all in safeguards under Section 228A of the now Section 72 of the BNS, which criminalizes disclosing a victim with up to 2 years rigorous imprisonment. The court wondered if these were sign of a systematic lowering of the guard mandated by Section 228A of the Indian Penal Code. Currently, Section 72 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the provisions disclosure of victims' identity criminal offence, punishable with up to 2 years rigorous imprisonment. Section 228A was the first step in a series of amendments made in 1983 towards a victim-centric orientation in criminal law, which included in-camera trials and anonymity. These reforms were designed to reduce the barriers and fears that previously discouraged survivors from reporting crimes and stifled effective prosecution of sexual offences. The top court said identity disclosures were in clear violation of a 2018 judgment in Nipam Saxena versus Union of India, which had portrayed the trauma suffered by drivers, survivors not only at the hands of the police but also in a courtroom when they had to face the defamatory questions from defense lawyers while presiding judges had like viewed spectators. Justice Carroll's bench directed the March 24 judgment to be sent to the Registrar Generals of State High Courts to ensure that the mandate of non-disclosure was strictly complied with even in pending sexual offence cases which preceded the Nipam Saxena verdict. Local block traffic in protest against cooking gas crisis in Punjab. Prime Minister's retired video MLP High Court state suspension of teacher. New butterfly species recorded in one named after Jubin from Guwahati. Tiger skin to bear bile and lizard oil Punjab based are the new wildlife crime hotspots despite little forest cover from Guwahati. Nasik Rodman arrest, phone calls, flood SIT, multiple complainants come forward from Mumbai. Statues of freedom fighters raised UP Kong stages protest. JNK Ladakh ready to host Grand Kumbh Melas from Srinagar. Rajasthan receives award on completion of irrigation census. As the hour nears for Nitish to resign, Speaker says he has time until March 30. Former High Court judge to move tribunal after name removed from Bengal electoral roll. High Court quashes land encroachment case against Sri Ravi Shankar from Bengaluru. Karnataka scraps assessment of third language in SSLC Jain from Bengaluru. Kerala CPI leader accuses Doordarshan of censorship from Trivandrum. Chanithala alleged scam in software project in Kerala. High Court directs EC to decide on BJP leaders' remark from Kochi. The north-south divide. Anger on the banks of the Musi. बीएम के सांसद देश में रेड कॉरिडोर खत्म कांग्रेस दो तिहाई बहुमत से चुनाव जीतेगी केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह दे सकते हैं जानकारी मंजेश्वर में कांटे की टक्कर केरलम सरकार ने पीडीएस के तहत केरोसिन वितरण को दी मंजूरी घरेलू ऊर्जा जरूरतों को पूरा करने के लिए सरकार ने लिया फैसला एसडीपीए के फैसले से बदला चुनावी गणित 184 पुलिस अधिकारियों का हुआ तबादला 83 वीडियो और एक एआरओ के तबादले पर लगी माहौल पश्चिम बंगाल कौन मारेगा बाजी 9 अप्रैल को होगा फैसला ये मोदी आज करेंगे मेरा बूथ सबसे मजबूत को संबोधित असम और पुदुचेरी के बीजेपी कार्यकर्ताओं को करेंगे संबोधित पुदुचेरी में पोस्टर बैनर पर सख्त प्रतिबंध कानून लागू मोबाइल के जरिए वोट देंगे बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ता खेलो इंडिया ट्राइबल गेम्स में कर्नाटक का दबदबा फ्री एंड फेयर इलेक्शन के लिए आयोग प्रतिबद्ध 15 स्वर्ण के साथ पहले स्थान पर कर्नाटक ओडिशा दूसरे जबकि तीसरे पायदान पर उत्तर प्रदेश का बीच कई जगहों पर आंधी बारिश की संभावना पश्चिमी एशिया संघर्ष तेल की कीमतों में बढ़ोतरी राजस्थान में एक बार फिर बदलेगा मौसम पश्चिमी एशिया संकट के बीच यमन की एंट्री हूती विद्रोहियों के इजराइल पर हमले के बीच बढ़ी तेल की कीमतें पर्वतीय क्षेत्रों में ऑरेंज अलर्ट नक्सलवाद की सफाई पर संसद में आज बड़ी चर्चा देश में रेड कॉरिडोर खत्म करने की कोशिशों के बारे में जानकारी दिल्ली में येलो अलर्ट केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह दे सकते हैं जानकारी सरकार ने पीडीएस के तहत केरोसिन वितरण को दी मंजूरी बांदीपोरा गुरेज सड़क बंद घरेलू ऊर्जा जरूरतों को पूरा करने के लिए सरकार ने लिया फैसला सुप्रीम कोर्ट पहुंचा भोजशाला का मामला पश्चिम बंगाल से 184 पुलिस अधिकारियों का हुआ तबादला 83 वीडियो और एक एआरओ के तबादले पर लगी माहौल पश्चिम बंगाल सुप्रीम कोर्ट 1 अप्रैल को करेगा सुनवाई ये आज मोदी करेंगे मेरा देश सबसे मजबूत के तहत संवाद और संबोधित। असम और पुदुचेरी के बीच कार्यकर्ताओं को करेंगे संबोधित। इंडिया स्किल्स प्रतियोगिता 26 25 26 की शुरुआत। नमो ऐप के जरिए जुड़ेंगे बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ता। खेलो इंडिया ट्राइबल गेम्स में कर्नाटक का दबदबा। छत्तीसगढ़ प्रतियोगिता के विजेता संगाई में वर्ल्ड स्किल्स में लेंगे हिस्सा। Opposition's notice against CEC still unacknowledged. O'Brien from New Delhi. RD charges ex Harom chief in bank loan fraud from New Delhi. NIA custody of seven foreigners extended in Myanmar arms link case from New Delhi. Defense proposals of 238 lakh crore rupees get approval from New Delhi. Stronger trade corridors and supply chains needed, says Jaishankar from London or New Delhi. Center says there is no need to panic over fertilizer stocks from New Delhi. Finance Minister rejects rumors of a lockdown from New Delhi. Seven killed as avalanche strikes Jojila Pass. Petrol, diesel excise duty cut, prices wouldn't change. Modi stresses center states cooperation in meet with CMs. PM calls for Team India effort to ensure the supply of fuel and fertilizers and crack down on hoarders and rumor mongers amid Iran war. He recalls collective response during pandemic from New Delhi. India signed 858 crore rupees defense deals with Russian US firms. Script change the rise of actor politicians in Kerala. From Thiruvananthapuram, EC suspends police officer following Bengal clashes from Kolkata. Tamil Nadu Assembly election will not be a one-sided battle like 2024 LS poll. Candidates take offbeat route to connect with voters in Bengal from Kolkata. Bangladesh Foreign Minister expected to visit India next month in reset of bilateral relations from New Delhi. Allahabad High Court said wrong to call one religion the only true faith from New Delhi. ED arrests Al Falah Group chief in one more case from New Delhi. Trade deal with India not far off, but still has gaps. US official says one of the gaps in discussion is around pulses with India seeking to safeguard the market for this agricultural commodity and the US wanting greater access to it. From Washington, the US and India are not far off from finalizing an interim trade deal but need to bridge some negotiating gaps such as over discussions on pulses and the staging of tariff reductions. According to US officials, we are not that far off from finalizing the interim trade deal, but some gaps remain, the official told personals in recent days. Officials in Washington are working out the nitty-gritty of trade agreements following the US Supreme Court's February 20 ruling that the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Amid conflict, India sends out invites for key BRICS meetings from New Delhi. Indian coffee exports hit due to US-Iran war, shipments stranded at sea from Bengaluru. Adani Ports sets up ports of refuge for maritime safety from Mumbai. Commercial LPG limit raised to 70% of pre-crisis levels. Call India to set up 8 coking coal washeries at 300 crore rupees. Myanmar junta signals change in leadership as parade begins from Naypyidaw. G7 allies press Rubio for clarity on American plans for Iran war. IDF chief warns of potential collapse, says report from Chennai. Trump delays strikes on Iran again, says discussions are going very well. Blendra Shah sworn in as Shams captain, Gill as the biggest influence on his batting.
में पानी रख, जैसे कि मेथी में रंग रंग है, उसी तरह हमारे शरीर में रुपया के खड़े हमारे साथ, इनका नाम है राम। एक प्रकार से पीएम जय अब गरीबों की जय बन गई है। देश हो रहा है आयुष्मान।
It is said that the realization of God is extremely effortless, and it is also told that the realization of God is extremely difficult. If one goes by set norms and regulations, then the realization of God is extremely difficult. But if the heart has a genuine the heart should have such simple passion, it is exceptionally difficult to attain God realization. If the heart lacks passion, God receives passion. If a child asserts that the mother is mine, what regulation will be applied in this? The child never deems if he is qualified or suitable by the virtue of his affection. He fondly and completely dominates his mother. Similarly, God is mine. Simply accept this. If the child cries, the mother has to attend to her child irrespective of what she was doing. Therefore, simply and honestly hail, O Lord, O my dear Lord, God is mine, this one truth surpasses everything. Without asserting any rules and regulations, one should particularly develop this single trait, God is mine. The passion for belongingness should be exceptional and foremost. Disregard every other fact. Don't focus even on your shortcomings. Rather, gaze only towards the Lord's gracious personality. There can't be anyone except God who can be harsh, nor can ever stay with us. For instance, when a mother watches her child play, her heart becomes full of love. Similarly, God's heart is full of love for each one of the souls. He wants to accept them, meet them, and converse with them. But this soul doesn't even glance at God. So it is my request to all of you that however you are, at least remember this thought that God is mine. मेरे तो गिरधर गोपाल दूसरो ना कोई. If you accept this, you will never be unhappy again. There is no particular loss in accepting this, but pure and pure profit. Body, senses, soul, mind, intellect, etc. Nothing belongs to me. Only God is mine. If you accept this, you will be greatly benefited, greatly benefited. Nothing else will bind you. Even in times of sickness, you will not be distressed, but would experience eternal joy. The body might feel lethargic, but there will be eternal bliss within. Even if you develop 4 to 5 degrees of fever, you stop talking or you collapse even then, there will be no difference in the eternal joy within. This is an absolute truth. Since all of you have come from satsang, just accept that regardless of however we are, we belong to God. Simply because of not accepting our belongingness to God, you will have to suffer. There is no doubt about this. At each and every place you will take birth, die, and suffer. Once the relationship with God is accepted, then be joyful. There is no need to do anything else. If you embrace God, then God is happy and sons are also happy. Everyone contents. No one can be upset because we are not grabbing somebody else's part, but taking what is rightfully ours. There is no sweat in accepting God, no fee, no learning, no reading, no memorization, and no qualification. There is nothing in this material world that belongs to us. Understand this, and God belongs to us. Accept this. उड़ीसा दूसरे जन्म के तीसरे पैदल पर उत्तर प्रदेश काबिज. पश्चिमी एशिया संघर्ष, तेल की कीमतों में बढ़ोतरी। पश्चिमी एशिया संकट के बीच यमन की एंट्री से और गहराया संकट। हूती विद्रोहियों के इजराइल पर हमले के बीच बढ़ी तेल की कीमतें। नक्सलवाद की सफाई पर संसद में आज बड़ी चर्चा। देश में रेड कॉरिडोर खत्म करने की कोशिशों के बारे में जानकारी। केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह दे सकते हैं जानकारी। सरकार ने पीडीएस के तहत केरोसिन वितरण को दी मंजूरी। घरेलू ऊर्जा has to be embraced initially. The material God is comprehended and God is accepted. Afterwards, God doesn't remain merely accepted but becomes tangible. God constantly gazes at you like a mother gets delighted when her child calls mom. Similarly, when you call out that God belongs to you, God gets utterly delighted. You are a fragment of the Lord. You must remember this at all times. I keep on reiterating this because I have developed a particular regard for it only. In recent years, I was not aware of its importance initially. For example, a daughter of your house after marriage belongs to the house where she got married. Similarly, you must also embrace your belonging to God's house, accept that you are not a bachelor anymore. We are not we are not without a master, unlike a wild beast. We belong to God. Indeed, you all belong to God forever. You may or may not know. You may or may not accept. Simply transform your sentiment. If you wish to experience God, then you must not regard yourself as a woman or a man. Affirm your relationship with God that I belong to God. If you embrace your belongingness to God, then it is tremendous achievement. If you affirm yourself as a woman or a man, then how will you achieve God realization? If you affirm yourself as a woman, then you will only achieve a man, but on not God. Affirmation of one's womanhood or manhood is also a hindrance in God realization. The distinction between a woman and a man is necessary for worldly customs and behavior. If you have embraced yourself as a physical body, then how will you experience God? Your inner sentiment only must transform that I belong to God. God's relation is such, it slashes all other phony relationships. You may be a sinner, but even then you are with God. Goodness and wrongdoings don't even touch you. You belong to God and God belongs to you. If you forget this, even then this truth is as it is. Forgetting and not forgetting is in the mind only. You have held the inert body material world, so it attracts you towards itself. If you disregard your relationship, then it will not attract. If you accept your relationship with God, then sins of eternal lives will depart. I belong to God. This is not a fact to ponder upon, but rather should be acknowledged. 2 plus 2 is 4 only. What is in it to ponder? If the mind is free of desires, attachment, aversion, but without any sentiment of belongingness towards God, then liberation will be attained, but God will not be experienced. Whereas there is desire, attachment, aversion in the mind, but the feeling of belongingness towards God is present, then God will be experienced. It means that impeccability is related to liberation, but belongingness is related to God. I thank all my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, students, scholars, teachers, trainers, professionals, officer, official, listeners, learners. I thank all respected doctors and directors. I thank all honorable minister managers. I thank all honorable advocates and right administrative advisors. I thank the most honorable President Modi ji. Thank you very much. Nice to see all of you. Thank you.